everyone! If you're new to this channel, hello, welcome. My name is Linda and this is Just a Bookaholic. Today is a very special video because in celebration of Batman's birthday, not his actual fictional birthday, but his first introduction and appearance in Detective Comics 27, I would literally do things that I can't legally say on this video for that issue, but Batman first appeared in Detective Comics number 27 on March 30th, 1939. So today's video is going to be a starter's recommendation for which comics you should read. This is by no means a definitive list, but I've consumed my fair share of Batman comics as well as shows and movies and animation, and these are a few comics I suggest and recommend if you want to jump into the fantastic world that is Batman. These are just a few of the comics that I think would be good ones to start off with, and I will be going in chronological order in terms of not publication but instead points in Batman's career. So yes, first one I would suggest to any people who don't know anything or know very little about Batman is Batman Year One, written by Frank Miller, illustrated by David Mazzucchelli. So this one I highly suggest over The Dark Knight Returns, not only because I like this one a lot better and it's a lot more palatable for newbies, as well as just being a better overall comic. This centers around Bruce Wayne's first year as the vigilante Batman, and it also has a dual perspective with Commissioner Gordon, who is starting off as a detective in Gotham City. If you don't know, Commissioner Gordon is one of the main central figures within the Batman universe, and he is Batman's ally in the police force as vigilantism is illegal. And there's a very adversarial relationship between Batman and the police force at times, because of the police. I stand by my statement. Anyway, yes, highly suggest this one as a first starting off point. I've found this to be a really good reimagining of Batman origins, so it's a great way to get in without needing any background. The next suggestions is actually a collection series, and it is the Batman Arkham series, which each collect stories on the different villains in Batman's rogues gallery. Iconic villains such as Penguin, Riddler, Mr. Freeze, Two-Face, and Black Mask. You may or may not be familiar with them, but each collection has various different comic issues that start off with the comics with the first appearance of those supervillains and then go into more modern storylines. So you get a good introduction of the villain as well as Batman's kind of interaction with them, and also are able to see how the villains evolve over time. Some of my favorites include Batman Arkham Penguin. The Riddler one was really fascinating as well, and Black Mask one I highly recommend if you want something really funny, because he has by far the best, most hilarious origin story, which involves a rabid raccoon. Well, I don't know if the raccoon was rabid, but it was very angry and just a delight. Just highly recommend that one. Just all around very hilarious storyline, best one, not in quality but just amusement. Batman Arkham Black Mask. Fun fact, many of the supervillains in Batman's rogues gallery was actually created or created by Bill Finger, who was also the creator of Batman as well as the first iteration of the Green Lantern. I focus on him because sadly Bill Finger lived in obscurity because Bob Kane, who I believe is kind of a douche, actually took full credit for Batman as well as for the Joker as well, when in reality Bill Finger was the co-creator of Batman, the Joker, and various of the supervillains as well. If you're into documentaries, there's a really great one about him on Hulu called Batman and Bill, which talks about this story, and I don't want to give anything away, but it's a very heartwarming story. The next comic I suggest to those unfamiliar with Batman is Batman Long Halloween, written by Jeph Leob, illustrated by Tim Sale, and this is actually a three-parter, but you can always just read the first volume, which is Batman Long Halloween. It's like fairly early in Batman's career, and this deals with more the detective side of him. You also get like a really good look at his rogues gallery. Upon first reading, the art style is a bit jarring, so I don't know if that's for everyone's taste, but the storyline and the plot is really exceptional. It centers around a mystery and the Gotham mob, so it still has like the very action-packed, wild supervillain interactions that you expect, but it also deals with the more complex, almost psychological explorations that Batman narratives are known for, in my opinion. So it centers around a serial killer who strikes on holidays, so Batman has to go against the clock to try to uncover and stop this mysterious unknown person from killing before each holiday comes forward. So yes, really fantastic storyline, one of the better plots I've read from a Batman comic to date. The next ones, I personally think you could still read them without that much knowledge of the Batman lore or his backstory or universe, because the next comic I'm talking about is Gotham Central, written by Ed Brubaker and Greg Rucka, illustrated by Michael Lark. There are 4 books in this series, and this is fairly later in the career of Batman, but not so much that he's an old, craggly, like, grizzled old man. So Gotham Central actually focuses on civilians rather than through the perspective of Batman. So you are following the MCU, which is the Major Crimes Unit of the GCPD, Gotham Central Police. This is the division of GCPD that has to deal with the supervillains and also interacts with Batman the most. So it's a police procedural where you get to see from the perspective of the detectives how like life in Gotham is with all of the crazy supervillains and with how like the law interacts with the vigilantes of Gotham. And I highly recommend it, but I will say if you actually go through with reading all 4, the 4th one, Corrigan, is a doozy, like the most gory of the gory, and just, yes, beware that it is very graphic. Not to make a pun, but like it has like a torture scene that is very just wowza. Not like, even for a dead inside gal like me, it was wow. But yeah, highly recommend that one if you're not too caught up on continuity. I think personally you can just jump into this one and you get like a good feel for the different characters without the storylines being too focused on backstory. You just get a good look into Gotham through the eyes of like normies. The final one is one that I think is just like a must read, and this one is one of my favorites. It is one that may be a little controversial for someone unfamiliar with the Batman world to read. I think it is a must, and this is The Killing Joke, written by Alan Moore, illustrated by Brian Bolland. And this deals with a more seasoned Batman, and this focuses upon his battle with, or his ongoing battle with the Joker. So this one is one of the more visceral and compelling storylines. I would caution reading the trigger warnings for this because there is a scene of some importance that is somewhat vague, but there is implications of sexual assault as well as just psychological torture and just, yeah, degradation and whatnot. Very, yeah, Joker's no joke if you're not familiar with the supervillain, but it also explores the birth or the creation of the Joker, and I feel like the dynamic between Batman and Joker is that of a coin. One side, good, the crusading, the honorable Batman, the other side, the dark, twisted, horrible, maniacal Joker. So yes, I think it's very crucial for people to read that if you want to get into Batman, and those are all my recommendations, and I hope you give some of them a go. Please comment down below whether or not you're familiar with Batman or if you aren't into him at all. I love it when you guys comment, and I hope you're surviving these precarious times, and goodbye.